Welcome back to Harmonize Your Life Conversations on Self-Care for Women of Color podcast with your host, Dr. Tony G. Alvarado. I'm so glad to have you here. This is our final episode for the month of September, and we have had wonderful dialogues all month. This month in the season 8 of our podcast, as we move into closing out another year of podcast episodes. Season 8 began with our September series, and then we'll move into October and November. We'll close out season 8 of the Harmonize Your Life podcast. But I'm glad to have you here with us again this week for another intriguing podcast conversation. And today's conversation will be what I know will be inspirational, it'll be motivational and informational, as my guest, Dr. Lavelle Hardy, who will be coming to us in just a moment, as we dialogue together about what it means to love ourselves on purpose. Yes, we're going to be talking to Dr. Lavelle Hardy, who is the progenitor of the I Love Me on Purpose conference. And I know that our conversation today will be a blessing in your life. So we'll be right back right after this. Well, I want you all to welcome my homegirl, Dr. Lavelle Hardy, into the podcast studio. Dr. Lavelle Hardy was born in Chicago, Illinois, just like yours truly. She is an inspirational leader, a visionary, a motivational speaker, counselor, and teacher who leads with wisdom and grace. Dr. Lavelle Hardy has undertaken several major projects, including overseeing the construction of a multi-million dollar church and multi-million dollar multi-purpose building there in Chicago. She is the senior pastor of the All Nations Church there, Church of God there in Chicago, Illinois. She is the president and CEO of I Love Me on Purpose Foundation. She teaches on several topics with a focus on people knowing their worth and value. Her candid communication style allows her to share openly and be transparent about her experiences so others can apply what she has learned to their lives. Dr. Hardy so eloquently says, everyone is worth every breath they breathe. Thank you for being here in the podcast studio with us, Dr. Hardy.
I am honored. I am honored to be on here with you. Thank you for the invite. Thank you so much.
Well, it's long overdue.
Yes, overdue. Better late than never.
Yeah. Yes. You're a busy woman. I'm glad I was able to get on your schedule.
Well, you are too. So we're there together.
Well, Dr. Hardy, I'm so glad to have you in with us in the podcast studio today. I wanted you to come in because I wanted to last month and last year, I attended and was a part of your conference, the I Love Me on Purpose conference.
Yeah.
And I was so moved and so impressed by what I experienced in your conference last year. And then again this year, you were just here in the Atlanta area with the conference. And I was privileged to be one of your speakers again this year. And I just love the work that you're doing. I love your concept and what you're doing with this conference. And I wanted you to come into the podcast studio to kind of recap what happened in the conference this year and just kind of talk to us about why you're doing this conference. You're a pastor, you're a wife, you're a mother, and you have so many things going on, but yet you feel compelled to host this conference for predominantly women, but I saw several men in your conference, which I was very, very happy to see
Yes,
men.
it's for everybody. It's for
It's for,
everybody.
it's for everybody. And I
Mhm.
love that concept. And so share with us your story, share some of your story with us and why you are so passionate about this conference and empowering men and women through the I Love Me on Purpose conference.
Well, like a lot of people's story, I'm a PK. That's a preacher's kid. Been in church all my life. And as I've gotten into pastoralship, it was forced on me, if I could put it like that. My dad passed suddenly, and I was his assistant. So that thrust me into that position. Never wanted to be a pastor, but hey, God's way is not our way. Isn't that right? So that's where I stand as far as pastoring. So what I have learned when you take over an existing church, woo, the trouble that comes with it, because they're always going to compare you to what was before. And I'm not one to be compared to because I'm my own person. But being a PK, and growing up in church, and church took over our lives. Back in the day, church was our life. We had no other life besides church. We went to school, we went to work, but we actually almost spent more time in church than we did at home.
Yeah.
My passion about empowering men and women, as you said, through this conference and through my foundation, I Love Me on Purpose. Um, I'm passionate because of that strong feeling I have. And I believe many times, especially women, and I could talk from a woman's standpoint because that's what I am, but I
Mhm.
believe many times women get lost or overwhelmed with the life around us and lose focus on the life within us.
Ooh, say that again. We get lost
And overwhelmed
and
with the life
overwhelmed with the life around
around
us
us
that we
and
lose
lose
focus.
focus on
Oh,
the life within
well,
us.
you done said something already. The benediction. We could get the benediction right there. You done preached a whole sermon, as they say, right there, Pastor. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
Wow.
Yes, we,
Wow.
we we get
Why
overwhelmed with
is
it.
that? What do you think? What contributes to that?
Well, first, as a woman, I think we're thrust from going from a baby to a toddler to a teenager, and then we're looking for that other person to connect to that will probably end up being our soulmate, unless
Hmm.
we find a few soulmates, as nowadays. But we lose ourselves. Our mothers lost themselves. Who do we see as the main focal point of our life? Was our mothers.
Yeah.
Some of them didn't work because they had to take care of the family. And
Mm.
then when they did work, they came home from work. Now they had to cook, they had to clean. So I think our training was through our parents that brought us to this firm. We realized it's almost like our life really didn't matter. Not that we didn't like it or love it, it just didn't matter. Everybody else mattered on top of our life.
Wow.
So
Wow.
we lose focus on who we are, what we can be. And that therefore, many times we've grown up to live vicariously through others.
Oh, wow.
We've
Wow.
grown, let me use the way they live today, the magazines, the TV. People are trying to get that size because of what they see in front of them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They want to be the model, but not on stage. But oh, I like the way she dressed. And it's okay to admire, but don't live your life vicariously through other people. I say all the time, one thing we have to learn to do and learn how to love ourselves is quit looking out of the window and look in the mirror. When we look out of the window, we're looking at other people.
Wow.
But when you look in the mirror, you're the main focal point. Even if you're looking in the mirror with a lot of people behind you, where are they? They are
Yeah.
behind you.
Right, right, right. So looking in the mirror causes us to look at ourselves. When we look out the window, we're looking out at others. I get that.
Yes,
That's a
yes,
good analogy. I love that concept. I
yes.
love that. Okay,
And
okay.
we're trying to base our life based on what we see. And out the window's a whole lot of stuff. But when we take time to look at ourselves, get in that mirror, study yourself. And as I said, I feel many people, as we really reflect on our lives and our past, sometimes it makes us enter into a season of regret because we never focused on that. Why do psychiatrists and psychologists make so much money?
Yeah.
And really, all they're doing is sitting there, not downplaying them, because I've taken up those classes too, not downplaying them, but we allow them to just talk. I've counseled people, and it has been funny. I've counseled people, and they come and they'll ask me a question, and this is what I've done most of the time. I'm like, okay, I see. Wow.
Yeah.
And they're talking themselves out, and sometimes they get up and they say, wow. They say, thank you so much, Dr. Hardy. I feel so much better. And I want to say you've actually just talked yourself into your own healing.
Yeah, because it's really in us, and people need a safe place to be able to unload, to talk, to just be listened to and heard.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons psychiatrists and therapists make so much money, because where else can we go where we can just unload and somebody is going to sit there and their whole agenda is to listen to us and help us process life, process experiences, process trauma, and help us develop tools to get through it. Yeah, that's oh my goodness. Yeah. So you developed this conference, or this model, this concept of loving yourself on purpose. Why that title? Why'd you name it that?
I named it that because I think we have to reprioritize and rebrand who we are. I didn't want this conference to be like any other conference. I didn't want it to be the normal church conference, because what I have found out, so many people leave conferences. They leave when they leave not, how can I put it? They leave empowered, but not changed. Have you ever seen people, I went to this conference, and I heard this and I heard that. But when you left it, did you apply anything you heard to your life?
Yeah.
So they go back into the same everyday life that they've always been in. They're not changed. They've been empowered. But in order to be empowered, now I've got to take that empowerment and make it a change and adapt it to my life.
Yeah. That's good. You know, I host a self-care retreat for women. And this will be next year. We'll be going back to Aruba. We went to Aruba this year in January. I do it every year in January, and I do it in January so that we can prioritize ourselves at the beginning of the year. So before we get off, most of us, our calendars are probably already set before the end of the year. Before we go into the next year, we've already put several things on our calendars, and oftentimes those things are, while we may be a part of them, they may not be centered on us. So it could be our church calendar, our work calendar, our family, things that are going on with our family members, children, spouse, or whatever. But how much time, or how many of us have been intentional to put ourselves on our calendar, right?
That's it.
So I encourage the women to come to do this every year in January. And they come together. So we plan the year ahead to be together. And then we come and we pull away for that week to just be, to relax, to have fun, to fellowship. I build in enough time in the schedule for them to do whatever they want to do. And I always tell them, this is your retreat. So, you can do an excursion. You can do whatever you want to do. We have sessions, but I don't build it. We don't fill the schedule with a bunch of sessions so that the women don't have time to just be fellowship with each other. If you just want to stay in your room in your pajamas, whatever, it's your retreat. But the purpose of it is for the women to connect with themselves at the beginning of the year and prioritize themselves before they get to or taking care of everything and everybody anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't,
Mm-hmm.
and like you, I didn't want it to be your typical church
Mm-hmm.
conference.
Yes.
I've done those and will do those, through my church.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted this to be different because, like you, I get tired of watching people come to conferences and leaving, and their
Mm-hmm.
life is not changed.
Yes. 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 That's true. I believe if I'm gonna go somewhere, I must come back with something and bring it with me and add it into my life.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
many
yeah.
of us we're excited when we leave and oh, it was great, it was this, because even now with the I Love Me on Purpose, we'll be sending out an email to everybody, and the question I inform my staff to ask, what have you applied to your life since August of 2022 from the conference? Because
Right.
sometimes people need they need that boost. They
Yeah.
need
I need a reminder.
yes, yes, yes. You know, make them accountable. Don't waste your money. Make sure you use it. And even next year, when you was talking about next year is going to be different because they're going to be allowed some me time,
Yeah, yes.
do what they want to do, but
Mhm.
they're going to have to come back and tell us why they chose to do that.
Ah, that's good. I love that. I
Why did
love
why,
that concept. So listen, talk to us about some of the things that go on in your conference. You've had some wonderful guests, I included.
That's right. That's right.
But talk to us, those that have never been to your conference, the type of topics that they'll engage in, and maybe even some of the people who taught in your conference, like this year, your
Mm-hmm.
daughter, Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Cassandra Simmons, Jay, what is it,
Mm-hmm.
King Jay,
Jay Barnett.
Ray
Mm-hmm.
Barnett. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to us about what some of your previous guests and some of the topics that you all discussed in your conference.
Well, I can't remember all the topics, but the guests, for instance, Jay Barnett, he
Okay.
focuses on mental health. And
Right.
I love it because it's a man doing it. So many men don't like to address that topic. You know,
Okay. Okay.
they're the men. They can't have issues. But he lets them know it's all right. And he brings it to the focus of it's okay not to be okay.
Mm,
That's what we
mm,
have to understand, men and women. It's okay not to be okay. My daughter, who's a forensic psychologist, her best friend, Dr. Cassandra's one too, and they focus on how to take care of you. You know, my daughter, I loved what she talked about because she talked about her low self-esteem, and she has a doctorate. And
mm.
they were shocked, like Jasmine with low self-esteem, but that low self-esteem pushed her to be where she is. See,
Wow.
whatever I believe, whatever's negative in your life, take that negative and thrust it toward the positive.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
with her having low self esteem, it made her feel good to aim for that doctorate, and especially as a forensic psychologist.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But that low self esteem did that, and
And
so
it
now
showed
she's
her
able
what
to.
she could do with her life.
Yes, yes, yes,
Mhm.
and not limit. Dr. Cassandra, the things that this young lady and you met her through the conference, had went through, gone through,
Yeah.
it thrust her to
Yeah.
focus on mental health because during the pandemic, mental health became such an
Yeah.
issue, a problem, concern, and everybody that was not stable enough or didn't have something else to focus on. And I'm going to say this right there. What I mean by that, I know a few people, but one in particular don't live in town. They were so involved in their church.
Mm.
Church, and that's fine because I'm involved in mine. They were so involved in church. But guess what? The minute the pandemic came and the church closed, they went into a state of depression
Wow.
because they had no friends other than church.
Mm.
Church was their meeting place, church
Mhm.
was their outlet.
Yeah.
They were not the kind to talk on the phone. So when the church closed, no phone was there because they weren't a phone people. They really began to be depressed. And then they went into a state of depression, crying and just, and what am I here for? And people wondered, well, you were just going to church, but that was their life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I believe we should establish a life outside of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
You're right.
know, what?
Establish a life outside of what we do every day.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Right. You're right. You're right. So you're a pastor, you're a wife, you're a mother. Are you a grandmother yet?
yes. I'm a grandmother. I
Okay,
have
so you're a
two. Mhm,
grandmother. Um, and you're senior pastor of your church.
mhm,
Um, you're a conference speaker, host,
mhm.
all of that. How do you demonstrate love for yourself? How talk to us when you talk about love me on purpose? What are some things that you do in demonstrating self-love?
Well, first of all, I had to learn how to take time for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think we focus on everybody else. Take time for me.
Mm-hmm.
That means outside of my children,
Mm-hmm.
outside of my grandchildren, take
Mm-hmm.
time for me. I used to always say that, I hear people say, if I have a quarter, my husband or my children have a quarter. No, I've never said that. If I have a quarter, you might have a nickel. I'm keeping 20 cents because I have to focus on me. And that's just an analogy that I use.
I know what you're saying. Save
But as
something
a
for
pastor,
yourself. Save something
yes,
for yourself.
exactly. As a
Mhm.
pastor, it's hard, but the pandemic was an eye opener for me. So I'm getting a lot of criticism now. I'm getting a lot of negative feedback, but because I am the pastor, I make those decisions. And I don't I don't judge no other church that's back full time, but as a pastor, I knew what it was taking for me. My husband had a stroke in '09. At the same time, my mother uh, had dementia.
Wow.
Uh, then my husband in 2015 had cancer.
Wow.
Then in 2011, after he had the stroke, I picked him up because he slipped out of a wheelchair and I popped something in my knee. I had to have knee surgery.
Wow.
So we were
Okay.
all incapacitated, but it still fell on me.
I understand.
You see what I'm saying? Then I had blood clots that took me out of here and God brought me back. So I had to learn, what do I need to do? Because as you know, being a pastor, you and your hubby, members can decide, I'm not going to church today. This is Sunday. I'm going to stay home. I'm going to go to a brunch. We can't do that.
No, we can't. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Oh, I'm not
No,
feeling
girl.
it.
I just want to my husband. I want to live like the regular the saints.
Yes, yes,
I want
yes.
to go out on Sunday too. Go.
Well, guess what? I'm doing exactly that because I said, okay, what can I do? So we do in person only on first and third Sunday.
Okay, so you're in person 2 Sundays a month.
Yeah, and I'm getting a lot of negative. I had someone told me the other day that someone came to them and said, "Well, what about if someone needs deliverance on a second Sunday?" I say, "Tell them we go live. I pre-record. I pre-record on Wednesdays before second and fourth Sunday. I said, tell them to tune in to Facebook Live, social media, and their deliverance is there every second and fourth. So I'm still doing church, but in person, first and third.
Okay, so
And
you
when
know,
I tell
there's
you,
a lot of churches doing that model now.
yeah, but when I tell you this Mother's Day was the best Mother's Day I've ever had, you know why?
Why?
My son, my daughter-in-law called and she said, "Ma, I'm going to Atlanta because Rex is Mary's going to be there for a 3-day summit she was having. Mary J. Blige, and he was her music director and drummer. So she
Okay.
said, "We're going to Atlanta." I said, "Oh, okay." And her mom and dad is there. I said, "Okay." And all of a sudden, she said, "Well, you need to go too." I said, "You're right." And guess what? We don't have church on second Sunday. So there's no Mother's Day service. Yes. I called right away, made my flight reservation. My husband and I were in Atlanta for Mother's Day. We were able to do brunch. The first time, let me say this, in 2018, my daughter planned a brunch here in Chicago, and she made reservations for us to go, and she was excited. And I'm taking my mother for Mother's Day brunch. And when we all got there, we were there in time, but the server said, "Well, you really won't get the benefit of enjoying the full brunch. So what we're asking you now is to order from the menu." And I could see the hurt in her eyes because she planned this brunch for me. And I heard her tell somebody on the phone later on, she said, I hate being a PK because it's days like this. We can't do what we want to do. We got to wait and go to church. And then everybody else want to take pictures. She said the ones that did brunch, they chose not to come to church.
Yeah.
I said, she will never be able to say that again.
Wow.
So I took this year, 2022, was in Atlanta, enjoyed brunch. Oh my God. Just enjoy the family.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So the pandemic taught me. So with the church change, I'm allowed to do things on second and fourth Sunday.
Okay.
Now, we still do things like we had a prayer breakfast a few weeks ago on second Sunday.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
We'll still do things, a men's fellowship would be on the second Sunday. So it's not like we're not doing anything. Like I said, I pre-record for every second and fourth, but still it gives us the leisure. Like last weekend, I went to Atlanta to care for my daughter recuperating from surgery. I didn't have to worry about I pre-recorded, before I left.
Innovative. That's very innovative.
And I was there because I didn't have church on this second Sunday. It was already pre-recorded.
Wow.
So I think you have to adjust what fits you comfortably and not allow people to tell you what you should or should not do. I get orders directly from God, and I consult my husband.
Okay.
And let me say this, a lot of times we want to say, well, God's not pleased. Where does it say that we had to have service 5 times a week? That's what we chose to do.
Yeah.
So I take the analogy that they use on the airplane. They say, when the oxygen mask falls, put it on you first before you help anybody else. And I tell
you have done just a whole reorientation of the way you do ministry.
Yes.
Okay. And this is part of your demonstration of loving yourself on purpose. How some of the ways that you demonstrate self-love.
Say it again. Some of the ways
you've been able to demonstrate how you love on yourself.
How I love myself is focus on what I like. They have Oprah's favorite things. What are my favorite things?
Oh, okay.
What is it that I want to do for me? So I love to go for massages. I love to go for facials. And people give me gift cards for those things. I love to have my husband and I will go on a ride in a minute up and down Lakeshore Drive. Doing things that what are my favorite things? Sometimes just to sit at home and just do what I want to do. And somebody said, well, when you're at home, you're still working, but that's what I want to do. I'm not one to sleep.
What you want to do. Right.
Yeah. What are my favorite things? And focus on those and begin to put those in your schedule. Take time for you. Because as they say on that plane, put it on you. If I can't breathe, I definitely can't help you breathe.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah.
So I do things that I love to do. I like to do. Sometimes just going for rides. Sometimes just little people understand. Sometimes just going in the grocery store. And then when you go in there, you say, God, I thank you. I can shop. I can, just taking time for your favorite things, those special things that matter to you and not nobody else.
Yeah.
Like you said, if they want to sleep, I'm not a sleeper like that, but if I want to sleep, then I can sleep till 10 o'clock if that's what I want to do. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what would you say to a woman who is listening to this, or a man, that's just struggling with this whole idea of loving herself?
Get to know you. Introduce you to you. I think a lot of times we really don't know who we are.
Okay.
We've lived so much for other people. We don't know who we are. We've lost ourselves in everybody else. So get to know who you are, what matters in your life. And sometimes you have to go back. You can't correct the past, but you can learn from the past. That's why therapy is so important.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I believe at a time everybody needs it at one point or another.
Honey, I say you can have Jesus and a therapist.
That's
We
right.
need both.
That's right.
I'm a big advocate for therapy. Yes.
Mhm. And that some people, they used to look at that as, that means I'm crazy.
Mhm,
No, I'm
mhm.
crazy in love with who I am.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
crazy about me, but
Mhm.
I'm getting my mental place. So when you're struggling to love yourself, get to know who you are.
Right. Yeah.
Stop looking and listening and allowing people to put stuff in your head, and you're hearing this and you're hearing that. No, know who you are. Introduce you to you.
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
you
mhm,
know,
mhm.
be your very first best friend.
Yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah.
looking for friendships, and some people, it's like they look for validation from others. I got to validate who I am first.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
as you grow into this season of loving yourself, focus on you. So what I say again, get to know you, introduce you to you. Sit down, get a list, and write your favorite things.
Okay,
If
okay.
it's traveling, why not plan a trip?
Uh-huh.
Now, somebody may say, I can't afford a trip. Guess what? You know what I used to do? My husband would laugh about it because I would do it on a Friday. I would be sitting in the hair shop on a Friday and I would say, I'm not going home tonight. And everybody in the shop knew. They like, okay, so you're going away. It would just hit me. And I would literally make a reservation for a hotel. We
Mhm.
had dogs, so my husband had to stay home, take care of the dogs. But I would go into the hotel and I would call him. At that time, he was at work, and I would say, I'm gonna be home tonight. He said, okay. He said, now look, wise, everybody can't do this because I don't know who y'all married to, so don't. Dr. Lavelle Hardy said, I can just go away. You better know your house. Didn't I say get to know you? But
Okay,
I would call.
okay.
He said, okay. He said, well, just let me know where you are, and that was it. I would
Okay.
go away. It could be for one night, but
Yeah,
just
that's
to
the
be
point.
that.
Just being intentional to get in a different environment. Even
Yes,
if and you're right. Sometimes we think if we can't get away for a week or 2 weeks or 10 days, then we can't go anywhere. No, you can
hmm
take a short breather, a short break,
yes,
shut
yes,
down, disconnect, and do
yes.
something. One of the things that I learned in the pandemic, I learned that I like to hike. I didn't know that I'd
Wow.
enjoy hiking, but
Yes.
when I couldn't get on the airplane and go places, I found hiking trails in Georgia. Me and my friends
Wow.
would get together.
Yes.
I went to waterfalls and all kind of stuff.
Mm.
I'm telling you, it's stuff right in our backyard that we miss out on. And it's
Yes.
right there for us to enjoy, but we don't take the time to do it,
Exactly.
thinking that we got to spend a
Exactly.
whole bunch of money to get away.
That's right. That's right. And you don't. My husband and I will go. I'll book a room in Oak Brook in a minute.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Let's go to Oak Brook, the Hilton Suites.
yeah,
Marriott,
yeah.
let's go. We're gonna do Friday and Saturday night, then especially Saturday night because we don't have church on second and fourth. Because I literally used to have to, okay, well, we can't stay Saturday because we got to get up for church.
Oh, yeah, you.
And
That's the life of a
I don't want people to think I'm down in church. Church is my life, but I have re-envisioned.
I got it.
I've rebranded it. I've reanalyzed, all of that. And so it's still part of my life, but I'm going to enjoy my life. I believe this. I believe so many pastors have died prematurely.
Mm.
Now, I said that before, and someone said, well, God is the one he's the author of life and death. So are you saying that he took them early? I said, that's not even what I'm talking about. When I
Mhm.
say die prematurely, they were not afforded the opportunity to enjoy their life.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
For
saying?
however long we're here. I get
That's
it.
right. That's right. My father was pastoring all those years, and he literally went on a week and a half vacation per year. That was it. That's not enjoying life. That's just a
Mhm.
week and a half. You see what I'm saying? And like you yourself, when you go, somebody say, well, you travel all the time. If you're speaking at conferences, that's not a
That's not the
vacation.
same thing.
That's
No.
work. That's work.
That's not
I
the
just
same.
changed venues. That's work.
Yeah, yeah, that's not the
So
same.
that's what I tell people when you're going to enjoy life, reevaluate where you are and what it's going to take for you to
Mm,
move forward
yeah.
from where you are. Change
Reevaluate where you are and what is it going to take for you to move forward. That is such sage wisdom and advice.
Yes,
I
yes,
appreciate that.
yes.
So what do you see for the I Love Me on Purpose conference in the future? Talk to us about it. I heard you give a little tidbit about what you want to do next year. Are you still gonna are you gonna move it around the country, or is it gonna just stay in Chicago, Atlanta? Where you planning to go next?
Well, next year we are going to be in Oak Brook next year. In
Okay. Okay.
2023, we're going to be in Oak Brook, but I do plan to move it in different places. Even you said Aruba, even going to islands, you
Yeah.
know, and it will make it. It would be longer because you don't go overseas for a day or two, you know. But
Right.
my
Right.
thing is for the conference, I want it to be a life changing, life altering conference.
Okay. Hmm.
I don't want you to come and leave here the same way that you got here.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Make it look like an Uber. When you order Uber, you get one driver coming and you get another one going back.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
You see what I'm
Wow.
saying?
Uh-huh.
So you have to understand that it has to be life changing, life altering for the person that's attending. And don't leave empowered, be empowered.
Mm.
Because we leave all kind of ways and we drop it off as on our way to the airport. On our way to the airport, we left it at the terminal.
Take it with you.
And take every nugget given to you at the conference and apply it. So what I want to do next year I want people to write down the top 10 nuggets that they've taken from everybody. Whether
Mm.
it was your roommate that you probably really didn't know, or maybe they were a church member with you, but you didn't really have this relationship of being in the same space.
Mm-hmm.
Write down those nuggets. Now, I've learned when I was in college and even after that, writing helps me because writing I won't forget.
Right, right. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
when you write it down, when
Yeah,
you write down that nugget,
yeah. When you write it, it tends to stick with you.
yes, yes. So
Mhm.
take that nugget you wrote down and figure out what part of your life you're going to apply it to and write it down.
Wow.
So A goes to A. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna match these two things up.
I got you. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
somebody said, what's your me time? Spend me time. What do you look at as me time and how are you gonna apply it? So you may say, me time is reading a book. That's
Mm-hmm.
fine. So
Mm-hmm.
how are you gonna apply it? You may say, I read books. Oh, I read books every day. No, it's got to be something different than an everyday thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that me time of reading a book. I may go to the beach, may go to the lakefront,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
may go to a restaurant,
Yeah,
may
yeah.
go to a hotel. I'm going to read in a different environment.
Environment. Okay. Okay. Okay.
So that's my uh, 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 hopes for the next conference, and we're going to do more me time things instead of sitting and just listening. Me
Okay.
time, taking care of me,
Okay.
and being in Oak Brook, they're going to have those hours that they can go out, but they got to report back to us. Because I want to make sure you just didn't go out. Well, I didn't do nothing. Then it was to no avail to you.
Mm-hmm.
You may
Uh,
say it
do you
yourself.
have your
You may say, huh?
do you have your dates for next year?
We're sealing them now, so
Okay.
it's going to be in July because now a lot of people, even in Chicago, they're starting school in August.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we're going to move it to July. So we're looking around July 20th. We're just waiting to confirm everything with the hotel.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, good. Well, we definitely will get it out there
Yes.
when you share it. We'll make
Yes.
sure that we put it out there. It's a wonderful conference, you all. You would not be disappointed if you attend. When you attend, you will not
Yes. Thank you.
be disappointed. Wow, wow, wow. Well, Dr. Lavelle Hardy, thank you for coming on and talking to us about your conference. I love
Thank
me on Purpose
you.
conference. Thank you for sharing with us the way you are revisioning your life
Yes.
and ministry based on
Mhm.
this concept of loving yourself on purpose. What
Yes.
final pearl of encouragement, instruction, or wisdom would you like to leave with us today?
Well, the encouragement is to remember you matter,
Mm-hmm.
you are valued, you are loved. And if you could even write those three things down and put them on your mirror or somewhere or in your car and just say that to yourself. I
That
matter.
reminds me, don't you have a book of affirmations?
Yes.
Tell
Yes.
us about that.
Well, the book is Speak It Now. I happen to have it right here.
Go ahead, go ahead.
But it's Speak It Now, and it's self-affirmations that you can encourage yourself. You
Okay.
know, I have titles in here such as Perfection Not Needed. Because
Oh,
I just opened up to that. I didn't plan on that, but,
that's
but
okay.
perfection not needed. Because I think the thing is, everybody's trying to be perfect. It's
Mm-hmm.
not needed.
Mm-hmm.
Perfection is not needed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let me see something else. Be a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
Be a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
Accept ownership. So all of these are affirmations that you can apply to your everyday life. And what I suggest in reading this book, which a lot of them did, don't read it in a week or two. I say take one affirmation per week.
Oh, okay. One
One
app
affirmation per week.
and
And see
focus on that. Mhm. I
exactly.
love that concept.
The first affirmation I have is something about happy. Let me see. It's my happy place.
Okay, okay.
So if I read that this week, let me focus on what makes me happy.
Happy. Yeah.
What
I
makes me
like
happy? And then I tell them in my church, because you have people, and I know what they mean. They say, well, what makes me happy is making other people happy. Forget other people right now. That's the problem. I'm not talking about what makes you happy in reference to making other people. No, what makes you happy for you.
Mhm.
So it could be shopping. It
Mhm.
could be just closing your eyes and going into a quiet space. You
Mhm.
know, my happy place. So that's what the book is about. But that pearl of encouragement, instruction, or wisdom, repeat to yourself, I matter, I am valued, I am loved. And
Wow.
remember this, you are worth every breath that you breathe. And also, the last thing is your existence. And I want them to remember this, your existence is not a waste of time.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Your existence is not a waste of time.
Wow. Whew. I love me on purpose. Dr. Lavelle Hardy is helping us understand that concept and what that means. I want to let you know where you can find Dr. Lavelle Hardy. You can find her on Facebook at Lavelle Hardy. You can find her on Instagram at I Love Me on Purpose. Also,
Mm-hmm.
go to her website, I love me on purpose.com. You can learn more about the conference that she hosts there at I love me on purpose.com.
And
And I want
Facebook has a I Love Me on Purpose also page. Facebook. I
okay.
Love Me on
So, and
Purpose.
she has a Facebook page, I love me on purpose,
Yes.
and on Instagram. And you can find her in all of these spaces and connect with the work that she is doing. I highly recommend this conference. I have been a speaker for the past 2 years. How many years have you
Mhm.
been doing the conference?
Only two to this extreme, only two.
Okay, okay.
Because we were going to start right before the pandemic and that
And
happened.
then
So,
I remember because I got
mhm.
invited and then we
Yes,
got to push the date back. So
yes,
thank you. So I've been a speaker at both of the conferences.
yes, you have. You
Amen.
blessed us. You have blessed us. Yes.
And I appreciate. And this year I taught on who's watering your garden. And
Oh my God. Yes.
we had a really, really, really good time. And that's the whole idea of loving yourself on purpose. And you all know my heart for self-care, health, and wellness, and the reason for this podcast. And I'm so grateful that our friend and our sister, Dr. Lavelle Hardy, agreed to come on and be a part of our conversations for the month of September. We just came off of the month of August, where she was the host of her conference, and I was there, and I told her, I got to get you on the podcast so we could talk about this concept and what you're doing. It's a great, great concept. Listen, we are if you're late to the party, this is the Harmonize Your Life Conversations on Self-Care for Women of Color podcast with Dr. Tony Alvarado, your host. You can find us at Anchor, Spotify, Google, and you can also, if you're not watching us on YouTube, I invite you to go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to my YouTube channel because we upload these episodes there as well. I want to encourage the women to join the Harmonize Your Life Women's Self-Care Network. You can do that on my website at drtonyalvarado.com. Go there and join the Harmonize Your Life Women's Self-Care Network. I believe it will be a blessing in your life to be a part of this network of women that we have galvanized from all over the country who are a part of this network. And we are professional women. We are wives, mothers, pastors, lawyers, accountants, you name it. We run the gamut. We're in corporate America. We're working, we're entrepreneurs. We're working from home. We're doing it all, but we're doing it with the vantage point of self-care, health, and wellness for ourselves, and creating a community of self-care, health, and wellness for our sisters.
Yes.
Dr. Hardy, thank you again.
Thank you. I am honored to be on here with you. I am honored. Thank you so much. And you're a blessing in my life. And the nuggets you gave out, I received. I am watering my garden.
Amen. We'll see you all again next week on the Harmonize Your Life Conversations on Self-Care for Women of Color podcast with your host, Dr. Tony G. Alvarado. See you soon. Hi, this is Dr. Tony Alvarado, and I want to personally invite you to join the Harmonize Your Life Women's Self-Care Network. Join us for fitness motivation, health and wellness information, inspiration, self-care strategies, and ideas for creating harmony in your life. As a certified health and wellness coach, it is one of my greatest honors to support women in their fitness, health, wellness, and self-care goals. Join the Harmonize Your Life Women's Self-Care Network, and we will do you good on your journey.